10 cars that look like Grandma's ride, but hide a turbo. Welcome back, gearheads. Today we're blowing the dust off some of the most innocent-looking rides ever made. These are the cars that look like Grandma's Sunday grocery getters, but secretly pack a turbo that could make her dentures rattle. From beige sedans that could gap a sports car to wagons that whistle like jet engines, we're counting down 10 cars that look like Grandma's ride, but hide a turbo. Buckle up, because these sleepers are about to prove that looks can definitely deceive. 10. Toyota Aristo Vertex Edition, 1997 to 2004. If you ever saw a Toyota Aristo parked outside a bank, you would never guess it had the same engine as the legendary Supra hiding under that conservative sheet metal. The Vertex Edition packed the 2JZ GTE twin-turbo inline-six, capable of over 300 horsepower in stock form and far beyond 800 with tuning. From the factory, it came with soft suspension, plush leather seats, and a silence that made you think it was built for executives, not adrenaline junkies. Yet beneath the quiet luxury lived a machine that could outrun most of the cars it parked beside. The Aristo could cruise at high speeds for hours without strain, and its rear-wheel drive setup made it a favorite among tuners who wanted stealth with speed. Many of these cars were secretly turned into street legends, which later led to restricted imports in several regions. Authorities realized that this mild-mannered sedan could easily be modified into a high-powered rocket, sharing nearly every major component with the Supra. What makes the Aristo Vertex Edition so fascinating is how modest it remained despite its potential. It wore chrome trim and beige interiors, never shouting about its power. Today, collectors treat it like an inside joke among JDM enthusiasts, a gentleman's car with the soul of a street racer. It was proof that you could have comfort, class, and chaos all in one quiet package. 9. Subaru Legacy GT, 2005 to 2009. The Subaru Legacy GT is the kind of car that makes you underestimate it the moment you see it. It looks like a grocery runner, the sort of quiet sedan your grandma might drive to bingo night, soft on the eyes and modest in shape. Yet under that mild exterior sits a 2.5-liter turbocharged flat-4 engine that shares its DNA with the Subaru WRX. That means it packs around 250 horsepower and the same all-wheel drive system that has made Subaru a legend on rally tracks across the world. Press the throttle, and this polite little sedan forgets all about manners. The turbo spools up, the tires dig in, and suddenly the car that looked ready for church parking duty starts pulling like it has something to prove. The Legacy GT could smoke far sportier cars while carrying groceries, kids, or a trunk full of sensible cardigans. What makes it truly special is how stealthy it remains. There are no loud spoilers or bright badges screaming for attention, just a calm face hiding a wild streak. It is the ultimate wolf in beige clothing, a sleeper car that lets you live two lives at once. Quiet on the outside, turbo troublemaker within. 8. Mercedes-AMG C43 W202, 1997 to 2000. At first glance, the Mercedes-AMG C43 looks like any other compact luxury car built for quiet commutes and dinner reservations. Then you start the engine and hear the low growl of a 4.3-liter V8 hand-built by AMG, producing 302 horsepower and 302 pound-feet of torque. The C43 was one of the earliest signs that Mercedes had gone slightly mad, stuffing big engines into small bodies just to see what would happen. The result was a car that could glide through city traffic in total comfort 1 minute and shred tires the next. It came with every bit of luxury you would expect from a Mercedes of the era. It had wood trim, leather seats, and a ride so smooth it could lull you to sleep. But the moment you pressed the accelerator, the calm melted into chaos. The C43 could sprint from 0 to 60 in around 5.5 seconds, which in the late 1990s made it a genuine threat to many sports coupes. Yet because it looked so unassuming, it became one of the best stealth machines of its time. The C43 never needed wings or racing stripes to prove its worth. It wore its power with class, letting its V8 do the talking. Today, it remains one of the most underappreciated AMG creations, a car that blended refinement and rebellion so perfectly it could drop off the kids at school and then leave twin black lines down the street on the way home. 7. Audi S4 B5 1997 to 2002. The Audi Audi S4 looks like the kind of car your dad would take to work, sip coffee in, and proudly call efficient. But beneath its polite executive shape lurks a twin-turbo 2.7-liter V6 that pumps out 261 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. Paired with Audi's signature Quattro all-wheel drive and a 6-speed manual, it could grip through corners like a terrier chasing a tennis ball. On paper, it was just a comfortable German sedan. Yet in practice, it was capable of humiliating sports cars that screamed for attention with wings and vents. What made the S4 such a sleeper was its balance between luxury and lunacy. It offered soft leather seats, heated everything, and a quiet cabin, yet with a single downshift, it transformed into a high-boost, high-adrenaline machine. Tuning potential made it even more dangerous, with owners easily pushing the stock turbos to deliver over 400 horsepower. For a car that looked ready for a business meeting, it could start a street fight in seconds. The S4 became the secret weapon of enthusiasts who wanted thrills without the drama. No wide fenders or roaring exhausts, just a calm executive sedan that could outpace a Porsche on the right day. It was a gentleman's car that loved to cause trouble, the kind of ride grandma might trust you with until she felt the turbos kick in. 6. Volvo S60 Polestar, 2017 to 2018. The Volvo S60 Polestar was the car nobody saw coming. For decades, Volvo was known for building safe, boxy family cars that looked allergic to excitement. Then Polestar, Volvo's in-house performance arm, decided to rewrite the rules. The S60 Polestar packed a turbocharged and supercharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, producing a staggering 367 horsepower, paired with all-wheel drive and a finely tuned 8-speed gearbox. This was no sleepy commuter car. It could sprint from 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds while still delivering that serene Scandinavian comfort. It was built in very small numbers, just around 1,500 units globally, making it rarer than most supercars. Polestar engineers gave it Öhlins adjustable dampers, massive Brembo brakes, and a handling setup that felt more like a touring racer than a sedan. Yet from the outside, it looked calm, almost modest, with just enough styling hints to make enthusiasts nod in approval, while everyone else mistook it for another quiet executive ride. The S60 Polestar was proof that Volvo could be sensible and savage at the same time. It was the automotive equivalent of a librarian who secretly moonlighted as a street racer. With limited production and a split personality that combines safety with speed, it remains one of the most underestimated performance sedans ever built. 5. Ford Taurus SHO, 1989 to 1999, 2010 to 2019. The Ford Taurus SHO was the car that proved even the dullest-looking family sedan could be secretly unhinged. The first generation arrived in 1989 with a Yamaha-built 3-liter V6 that sang all the way to 7,000 revolutions per minute and produced 220 horsepower, a number that made sports cars sweat back then. It had front-wheel drive, a 5-speed manual, and the styling of a government fleet car. Nobody expected it to move like it did. The SHO could sprint from 0 to 60 in about 6.6 seconds, which made it faster than most coupes on the road, while still looking like something your dad drove to PTA meetings. By the time the 2010 revival rolled around, the Taurus SHO had evolved into a turbocharged beast with Ford's 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6 and all-wheel drive. It pumped out 365 horsepower and could keep up with V8-powered rivals without breaking a sweat. Yet it still wore that plain family sedan body, blending in perfectly among minivans and midlife crisis convertibles. The police even used versions of it as interceptors, proving it was equal parts practical and predatory. The SHO became a cult favorite for drivers who love flying under the radar. It was the ultimate undercover hot rod, capable of taking grandma to church in the morning and embarrassing a Camaro at the stoplight on the way home. Few cars have ever hidden so much power behind such a boring face, and that is exactly what made it legendary. 4. Buick Regal GS. The Buick Regal GS is the perfect example of a car that nobody expected to be fast. Buick's reputation for building cars suited to country clubs and quiet drives made the GS's arrival a genuine surprise. It came with a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, producing 270 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, available with either a 6-speed manual or an automatic, and an advanced all-wheel drive system that gave it real grip through corners. For a brand that was once shorthand for retirement, this sedan suddenly had the reflexes of a teenager. The Regal GS featured adaptive suspension, Brembo brakes, and a sport mode that actually lived up to its name. It could hit 60 miles per hour in just over 6 seconds, which was not supercar fast, but enough to shock anyone expecting a calm, luxury cruiser. And the best part was how quietly it did it. No flashy body kits, no booming exhaust, just a clean, business-like exterior that gave away nothing. It was the ultimate example of don't judge a book by its cover. The Regal GS could blend into a parking lot full of family sedans and then embarrass them all on the first stretch of open road. It was Buick's rebellious phase, a car that politely smiled while secretly breaking the speed limit. 3. Mazda Speed 6, 2005 to 2007. The Mazda Speed 6 is one of those cars that lived a double life so well, it could have starred in a spy movie. To most people, it looked like a regular Mazda sedan designed for family errands and quiet commutes. But underneath that calm exterior sat a turbocharged 2.3-liter direct injection 4-cylinder engine that produced 274 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. It came with a 6-speed manual and a sophisticated all-wheel drive system that could send half its power to the rear wheels when things got serious. This was not a sedan that played by the rules. Mazda engineers wanted to prove they could take their Zoom Zoom slogan and make it bite. The Mazda Speed 6 could rocket from 0 to 60 in about 5.4 seconds, quicker than many sports coupes of its era, while still offering a full trunk and room for the weekly grocery run. It handled like it was built for back-road duels, not school drop-offs. The turbo lag gave it a split personality, calm and quiet one moment, then snapping to life like a caffeinated wasp the next. Despite its brilliance, the Mazda Speed 6 never sold in big numbers, partly because people did not realize what it could do. It was too polite for its own good. Yet today, enthusiasts know exactly what it is. A 4-door time bomb of torque disguised as a commuter car. It may look like something your boss drives, but under the hood, it is pure mischief. 2. Volvo V70R, 2003 to 2007. The Volvo V70R is the perfect example of Scandinavian mischief. Most people saw a station wagon built for safety and family trips, but Volvo's engineers clearly had other ideas. They stuffed a turbocharged 2.5-liter inline-5 under the hood, producing 300 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, paired with a 6-speed manual and all-wheel drive. The result was a car that could rocket from 0 to 60 in just over 5 seconds, while carrying groceries, kids, and a Labrador in the back. It was packed with technology that made it both secure and slightly unhinged. The 4C adjustable suspension allowed drivers to switch between comfort, sport, and advanced modes, transforming the ride from smooth serenity to track-ready stiffness. Massive Brembo brakes and a subtle body kit hinted at what lay beneath, but the car still looked calm enough to park in a retirement community without raising an eyebrow. Volvo built only a few thousand of these turbocharged wagons, and they quickly became collector favorites. It was the ultimate contradiction, a family hauler with the soul of a sports car. The V70R could drop the kids off at school, then quietly outrun cars twice its price. Safe, practical, and secretly savage, it was proof that the most polite cars often have the wildest hearts. 1. Toyota Aristo 5 300, 1997 to 2004. The Toyota Aristo Vi 300 is what happens when an engineer sneaks a race car into a luxury lineup and hopes nobody notices. On the outside, it looks like a well-mannered executive sedan made for golf trips and quiet meetings. Underneath, however, it hides the same legendary 2JZGTE twin-turbo inline-6 engine that powered the Supra. That meant 276 horsepower on paper, though everyone knew Toyota was being modest. In reality, the V300 could easily punch out over 320 horses and was built to take much more with a few tweaks. It sent its power through a silky automatic transmission to the rear wheels, wrapped in leather seats and wood trim, so smooth it almost felt guilty to floor it. The car could glide through traffic like a diplomat or turn into a fire-breathing street machine with the push of the throttle. Because it was quiet, fast, and surprisingly affordable to tune, it became a cult favorite for enthusiasts who wanted performance without the attention. It was the kind of car that could outpace a sports coupe while carrying 3 passengers in absolute silence. Despite its power, the Aristo 5 300 never made it officially to many countries. Regulations, emission standards, and its tuning potential made it a little too wild for comfort. It remains one of the ultimate sleeper sedans, the polite cousin of the Supra that could outclass it when the situation called for it. A luxury car by appearance, a street assassin by nature, and that wraps up our list of cars that look calm but drive like caffeine on wheels. Never trust a quiet exhaust or a beige paint job again. Hit subscribe before your turbo kicks in, and stay tuned for more rides that play nice until the light turns green.